I guess I first became interested in being a paramedic in my early teens. Always had interest in first aid and helping people. I guess it started with surf lifesaving. I started my training at Victoria University. At that stage it was a 4-year course, and things changed in my life and my family's life, and then we moved away from Melbourne and moved up to the Territory. And from there, again, my interest was still there, so I then applied for the service here and got into the voluntary side and did some study on the side as well by correspondence, and from there I was lucky enough to get a full-time position, and the rest is history.
I've always wanted to be a paramedic, to be quite honest. I was working at a pub called Bojangles in Alice Springs, and just after my daughter was born, drove past the ambulance centre and went, I'm going to go in and have a look. And went in, spoke to someone there, put an application, and I was lucky enough to, after interviews, to be accepted.
Benny was a paramedic first here in Alice Springs while Tom and I were gallivanting through the countryside with adventure tours and having a great time doing that. And Benny was a paramedic at that stage, and we were volunteers here in Alice Springs at that stage. And one thing led to another, really. And a mate of ours who worked in communications said it was probably about time to come over to the dark side and come and join the service. And yeah, we haven't looked back. It's been an amazing journey of self-discovery as a paramedic here in Alice Springs.
I became a paramedic alongside Danny at the very same time. We were volunteers for 2 years in 2004 and 5, around that period. And older brother Benny was a paramedic at the time, and it was a natural extension to move in this area. We loved being outdoors, and the skill, the critical thinking of being a paramedic appealed to us a lot, and it was a natural unfoldment to life in the outback.
I became a paramedic in 2008, the start of 2008, and I pretty much, I've known the Sanctuary boys, the Thousand boys, for about 12 years, and yeah, they sort of talked about it, and then we had some other good mates that were in it, and then yeah, a job came up and I applied, and yeah, got involved. It's quite good keeping the family together, team.
Obviously the boys followed my lead in my chosen career. They were obviously busy establishing what we have here. They started off similarly with me with the volunteers, and from that eventually moved on to becoming a paramedic. But I think they also had a strong passion with working with people and helping with people. You could not do the job if you don't. So yeah, look, it was already established there, and certainly it worked well with our business, you know, with the hours that we do, and working it in with our business, it works hand in hand very nicely.
We really get to work together, funnily enough. There's only been occasions that we can account where we're all together, and but when we are on a job, it is a little bit like I guess playing sport together. We know each other and how we work, and trust each other's abilities, and it's really good to work with your brothers. They switch on very quickly, and we seem to work very efficiently together. That's a treat when that happens, but it's not always the case. Often you're there with your students and so on, and it's quite challenging. There's only 2 of you, and you might be in a location with 100 very loud and aggressive people. So it really challenges your skills to try and be the calm in the storm.
Certainly having Benny there as an intensive care paramedic, he's been in a couple more years, and just that extra couple of years gives Benny an understanding of how to deal with certain jobs. And Tom and I worked security for 4 years before doing ambulance work, so we have a good understanding of the streets of Alice Springs and the kind of issues that we always have to deal with.
Yeah, certainly we're dealing with the stress. Obviously having my brothers, it helps, and having close friends. Look, there's counselling avenues for people, but I know personally you deal with it in-house, generally with your close workmates. So that's what works for me. It'll be different for everyone. Some people just need to get away or whatever, go to the gym, have a swim or whatever, or just get out and get some fresh air, whatever it may be. Everyone's different how they cope with their coping mechanisms. But certainly to have family involved that certainly can understand what you're going through is always reassuring and helps you get through sort of the nasty part of the job.
Yeah, look, having two brothers is very unique in the field. We can always rely on each other and consult with each other about jobs we've done. It's a double-edged sword. We share skills and knowledge and experiences, but at the same time you can guarantee it's a central part of the discussion when we all come home and when there's issues both in the field of practice and also in the managing process of looking after this town of Alice Springs. It's always a big part of the topic, and it's consumed a big part of our lives over the last 10 years. So it's an empowering part of it, but it also has its challenges, I think.
It's not an everyday job, 9 to 5 job, work behind a desk job. You're confronted with all kinds of things regarding, human life, so good and bad. So it's nice that you can come home and sometimes you just don't want to do anything. And that person there understands what you go through day by day. And for a lot of other people, I think it is hard to understand what actually goes on in our day-to-day job. And it's not something you come home and you talk freely about your job, especially if you had a bad day. So it's nice that you can share your life and your career with your brothers. But certainly the aspect of the danger aspect is always concerning, and you certainly don't want them to get hurt. There's always that element, that there's always that possibility that could happen.
See you soon. Good luck.